At call to the public, we have Sean, if you'd like to come, make your way up here to the, what we'll do is give you a couple minutes to, if you can state your name and.
My name is Sean Mattson. I am president of the Phoenix Police Sergeants and Lieutenants Association, where we represent 500 hardworking sergeants and lieutenants of the Phoenix Police Department. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. Phoenix Police Department is on the verge of deploying a 5/8 model in West Phoenix in one of our busiest precincts. Where myself and my organization encourage the department to continue to look at things so that we can operate in a more efficient and manner and put more cops on the street and save money. I think that this is the wrong plan. I think when we talk about efficiency and talk about cost-saving measures and more cops on the street, we need to do so without sacrificing safety and service to the community. I think that the plan that's about to be implemented does both, sacrifices both of those items. All ranks are frustrated right now with the potential of transitioning to a 5/8 model. Last time the Phoenix Police Department saw a 5/8 model was back in 1985. I think we'll be rolling back the clock. The current plan, from what I've seen of it, because I haven't seen all of it, would require officers to work one extra day. With that one extra day, that means one extra meal break, loading and unloading a vehicle, briefing time, and administrative responsibilities, which amounts to about 3 hours worth of work, police work that the taxpayers are paying for, but they're not getting the product of police work for. Also, the current plan, from what I've seen, is going to carve out 3 sergeants and approximately 10 officers from every precinct that it would deploy in. So where it's being sold to members of the department and members of the community, where we're going to add extra cops, I haven't seen that yet. I've only seen where it's taking cops away. Currently, the members of the Phoenix Police Department have acted under the mantra in the city of Phoenix to do more with less. We're taxed already. We have depleted resources. We have depleted manpower. When people call 911, they want a cop. Regardless of boundaries, regardless of buildings, they want a cop there. I think the current plan sacrifices the officers that are on the street for the sake of, Mr. Chairman, am I permitted to, thank you, sir, without sacrificing members of this on the street. There's been studies, one study done, and that's the Berkshire report. Berkshire report needed to justify its existence, so it's going to have to say that we need to make some cuts and do some things differently. There's a myriad of studies, one of which the city of Phoenix did, entitled the Community Profile and Trends Report, where just reviewing a few of the years, 1990, 2000, and 2013, our calls to service are declining. Our major crimes are declining. Our cops on the street continue to increase. Our population of officers responding to calls. I think when a citizen calls 911, they want the cop there, regardless of the building, regardless of the beat area. I also believe that, okay, yes, sir. I think my organization is willing to look at more efficient models, but we can only do that with open and honest communication, communication with us and communication with the public. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Any questions for Sean? All right. Danny, was that?
I don't think Mr. Chair, that was just that was called to the public. Right? I mean, I have some comments on that particular item, but I don't know if this is appropriate here, or maybe a future agenda item.
I apologize. It's called to the public. We can have staff look into that. Thank you so much for that, sir. And then we have Joe.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Thank you. My name is Joe Clure. I'm a Phoenix police officer for 31 years. I'm also the elected president of the Phoenix Law Enforcement Association, which represents all rank-and-file police officers in the city of Phoenix. First and foremost, let me say that Phoenix police officers and myself are absolutely committed to this community and providing the absolute best and most efficient law enforcement service known to mankind. I have to tell you, I'm here to speak on the 5-8 schedule. I also have to confess that I do not have a lot of information regarding that schedule because I was not invited or permitted to participate in the development or discussion phases of that proposal. So I can't really provide you any specifics as to what happened, but what I can talk about is the fact that I do have a lot of questions with regards to the efficiency and the effectiveness of a 5-8 deployment schedule in Phoenix. I was hired in 1982. We were on a 5-8 plan. We went, as stated earlier, to a 4-10 plan in 1985. Presumably this is for cost containment measures, which I fully understand and support. However, I think that people need to take a look at this Police Foundation study, which was recently completed on 8, 10, and 12-hour shifts. It has some very interesting findings in it. One is the increased cost in overtime as it relates to 8-hour shifts compared to 10-hour shifts. The study reveals that there's 4.78 hours of overtime greater on an 8-hour shift as opposed to a 10-hour shift. I did some simple math because that's all I know how to do with regards to this proposed pilot study. There are 159 officers on this study. If you do the math, it comes out to about a little over $1.4 million in additional overtime cost. Add that up per precinct, and I think you're going to have a problem. The other thing I'd like to talk about is the efficiency, as stated earlier by Sergeant Mattson. There's a loss of 2 to 3 hours per shift. This is documented in the study. That will equate to an equivalent of almost 5 officers' positions lost productivity per year. The other problem I have with the shift is there must be a reason why we've been doing this for 30 years. Mr. Chairman, may I continue? Thank you. The advantage to the 410 shift, which is explained in this survey or this scientific study from Police Foundation, is that there's a overlap period which allows for maximum deployment of officers during maximum peak time calls for service. Whereas the 8-hour shift provides constant manning, but it doesn't address the issues of peak calls for service. It's in my opinion, a very substandard model of deployment of police law enforcement resources. I think that is evident by the fact that I did a little survey on the way into work today, checked with some of my counterparts around the Valley, and every single police agency in the Valley does 410 shifts. Glendale, Mesa, Tempe, DPS, Tucson, Surprise, Gilbert, Avondale, and the list goes on and on. Everybody does 410 shifts. They've been doing them for decades. There's got to be a reason. The only people that I could find that does... Yes, sir. One more minute. The only people I could find that did a deployment model as proposed was Dallas. And ironically, I spoke with my counterpart at the Dallas Police Association Tuesday, and he said that they're in the process of developing a committee to look to move to 410s. I think they've probably seen this study. The other thing, Berkshire, we had 15 public meetings, which I attended the vast majority of them. Overwhelming support for 410s. I think the community understands the advantages of a 410 deployment over a 5-8 deployment. The other thing that I'm very proud of is we have tremendous support from the community. They understand, and it's a difficult job, and they care about our officers. They actually care about their family lives and their commitments that they make to provide this service, and it's an honor to do so. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Joe. Can I have staff maybe look into the? Can we get a copy of that report that Mr. Clure was talking about, and also if we can have each of our members look into that issue about the overtime and the loss of positions and the communication between I guess our chief and our unions